Hi everyone, my name is Gabriel Lee and thank you for tuning in again. This is the second of 4 videos that I'll be doing to share some tips and guidance on how to teach music online. And in this video, I'll be guiding you through Zoom so that you can maximize its capabilities for your online music lessons. There are a range of video conferencing software available, and Zoom is one of the most commonly used for online lessons, but it is not the only one available. I've heard from some pianist friends that they prefer the piano sound in Skype compared to Zoom. And I also have a friend who prefers the piano sound in Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp if both parties do not have an external mic. So it really depends on many factors and you should try all possibilities and settle on one that works best for you. I find that Zoom works best for me and many of my colleagues because of the many settings that you can tweak and also its wide range of functions. So without further ado, let's get right into it. If you have not downloaded Zoom, the first thing to do would be to download it from zoom.us if you are using a laptop, or from the App Store if you are using a tablet or smartphone. Do not connect to a Zoom meeting from your browser as the functions are extremely limited there. After downloading Zoom, this is how it would look from a laptop, and because the version on laptops and desktops are the most complete, I will be demonstrating from this version. And the first thing you want to do is to adjust your settings. The settings icon is in the top right hand corner. And next we want to go to the General tab and then View More Settings. So you'll want to enable all the points that require a password. There are many reported security breaches of late with hackers and trollers intruding Zoom meetings. So also be sure not to share your meeting ID and passwords publicly. So also enable screen sharing and allow all participants to share the screen if you think that you want to compare scores, etc. And also allow users to select original sound in their client settings, and we will get into more of that later. Enable the waiting room so that you can just generate an invitation code for a batch of students, and your next student will be in the waiting room if you're not done with the previous student. So you'll need to let the next student in. And this is again to prevent hackers from gaining access to your meeting. Now let's get back to the basic settings menu. You will want to go to Video Settings and untick Enable HD unless you are sure both sides have excellent internet connection. Then you will want to go to Audio Settings and you want to select your mic. And here I have my H2 mic, so I've selected that. And you want to also untick Automatically Adjust Microphone Volume. Then you want to tick this. Basically, is to press and hold space key to temporarily unmute yourself. This is very useful to use like a walkie-talkie, especially in a group situation or if the connection isn't very smooth. Then you want to go to Advanced Settings and tick this box to show in-meeting option to enable original sound from the microphone. And you also want to disable these first 2 buttons and put Auto on Echo Cancellation. Zoom has sound enhancements and designed for speech, so if you do not change these settings, long sustained tones will be interpreted as background noise and be cancelled out. So now we are done with most of the settings that are geared towards online music lessons. And the next thing is to start a meeting. You can simply start a meeting here, but I like to schedule because it allows you to give the student the link well in advance before the lesson. And it also gives them time to set up before the start time. It is also especially useful if you're teaching in a different time zone, so there's no confusion on time. If you're a teacher, you want to click on Schedule, and then you can just schedule it as whatever name you want, and then put down the date and the time. You can put down in whichever time zone that you want, and then you can put video on for both hosts and participants, and then just schedule it. You will then want to copy the invitation and send it to the student either via email or text. And if you're a student, simply click on the link or click Join Meeting right here and put in the meeting ID and password. Now let's just go ahead and start the meeting here. The first thing we want to do is to turn on the original sound. And here we can manage our participants. There's the option to mute all, especially if you have more than one participant and you only want to hear the person playing. And note that if you're using a basic account, you have a 40-minute time limit for 3 or more participants. In my previous video, I showed you a multi-angle view of my piano, and there are 2 ways that you can do it. The first is via sharing screen of your iPhone or iPad via either AirPlay or cable. And since this is a little bit more complicated, I'll show you how to do it via AirPlay. So you share it, and then on your iPhone screen, you can just enter this screen and basically click screen mirroring, and then click on your laptop, and then immediately it will mirror your iPhone screen. So what you can do is you can click on the camera to get an alternate view of your teaching. And the second way to do it is by clicking the copy invitation and sending it to yourself, either by email or message to your other devices. And then you can click on the link on your other devices to add them in as participants. If the host is using a basic account, you probably want to do a share screen for an alternate angle. Otherwise, you would have a 40-minute time limit for the meeting. I personally like to use 2 angles for my violin teaching, with the tablet on my left to capture my left hand, especially for younger students when I'm teaching like shifting, vibrato, and also the laptop in front of me to capture my front view. And it's pretty easy to toggle between the various views. So here we can go to speaker view, we can go to gallery view, and I can also share screen from my tablet to annotate on the score. So here I can annotate, I can put in bowings, circle particular notes. And it's also pretty easy to toggle between the various views. Here I can make the score go smaller if I want, so that I can decide on the proportion, whether I want to see more of the score or more of my student. So it's pretty flexible. Just be sure that you only turn on audio for one of your devices, otherwise you will experience feedback. Besides adding an additional angle, there are other things you can do with the share screen function. You can also use the whiteboard here and use it to doodle, whatever you want to do, teach note values and stuff. And you can also annotate another person's screen share. Here you want to tick the share computer sound, especially if you're playing a video or audio clip. And here you can also optimize screen share for a video clip. You can use the chat function to share files like scores, and also if you are having like a studio or group class, you can ask the other students to comment on one another's playing here. And here you can easily record the session by pressing this button. But just a quick note also to ask your participants for their consent before you record this session. So that's my quick introduction to Zoom for music lessons. I've touched on many points, and if you're a teacher, it would be really useful to grasp everything that I have covered. However, if you're a student, just be sure to set up the audio settings and follow your teacher's instructions for the rest of the setup. I would highly recommend that parents help their younger children with setting up. In the next video, I'll be talking about maximizing the value of your online lessons. So do stay tuned, and I'll see you all very soon.